Hey, what's up everyone? Today we're talking about Cam Newton and his journey from MVP all the way to leaving and now coming back to the Carolina Panthers. Make sure to like the video for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell. I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers this year. Cam Newton has had some great moments in his career and helped the Carolina Panthers reach great heights. However, he has been away from them for 2 seasons, but now finds himself back with the team. Let's talk about his career and how he got to this point. Cam Newton was born in Atlanta, Georgia on May 11th, 1989. His father actually played safety in the NFL in the 80s, so he came from a very athletic and sports-focused family. Newton was great at basketball and baseball, but in high school he would switch to football as his main focus. He played football for Westlake High School and as a junior passed for 2,500 yards and 23 touchdowns with 638 more yards on the ground with 9 more touchdowns. His senior year, he was ranked as the number 2 overall dual-threat quarterback in the nation and committed to the University of Florida after considering Georgia, Ole Miss, and others. Coming out of high school, he stood at 6 foot 5 inches and 235 pounds with a 4.5 40-yard time. He was an incredible athlete that again was heavily recruited. Newton, as I said earlier, chose to attend the University of Florida, but he only saw playtime in 5 games as he was a backup to then superstar quarterback Tim Tebow. In 2008, his sophomore season, he only played 1 game before being injured and had to take a medical redshirt year. Later that year, he was arrested on felony charges for burglary, larceny, and obstruction of justice. After that, he was suspended from the team, and it was all over him apparently taking a laptop and trying to throw it out the window to avoid the cops seeing. But after this was all said and done, the charges were eventually dropped. He would then announce his transfer from Florida to Blinn College, a junior college. In 2009, he would lead them to the National Junior College National Football Championship, where he would pass for 2,388 yards with 22 touchdowns and 655 rushing yards. He was an All-American and was the most recruited junior college quarterback in the entire nation. Now, coming back to Division I football, he was looking at Oklahoma, Mississippi State, but he decided to sign with the Auburn Tigers. Would that be the correct choice?
Cam takes the snap, looking for the receiver. He's got Lutz and Kirkton. Touchdown Auburn!
Yes, Newton would finally play up to the hype and would dominate the 2010 season as he passed for 2,854 yards with 30 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions, completing 66% of his passes, and he would also rush for an insane 1,437 yards and 20 more touchdowns on the ground. These were mind-blowing numbers, and he even caught a touchdown pass. Cam Newton became the first SEC player to ever throw for 2,000 yards and rush for 1,000 yards in a single season. It was a crazy season for the Auburn Tigers as they had multiple comfort behind victories, a lot of memorable games that season, including a 28-27 comeback victory over the Alabama Crimson Tide after being down 24-0 in that game. Newton would of course be named the Player of the Year, and he won the Heisman Trophy in a landslide victory. He would lead them to the national championship game against the Oregon Ducks, where Newton would lead the Tigers down the field to win the game on a last-second field goal. After his incredible season, he was a superstar and NFL scouts couldn't wait to see him. Newton had the body, smart decision-making, and toughness that most teams wanted at the quarterback position. So after all of that, he was selected with the number 1 overall pick by the Carolina Panthers in the 2011 NFL Draft. So how would Cam Newton do now that he was in the NFL level?
Cam down the sideline. Cam Newton, hesitation, still on his feet. Cam Newton, touchdown.
Cam Newton would start his NFL career on fire. In his NFL debut, he would pass for 422 yards with 2 passing touchdowns and 1 rushing. He showed off his immense talent and would continue this the next week, passing for another 432 yards. His 854 yards passing through his first 2 games was the most in league history by a rookie. He would eventually set the record for rushing touchdowns by a quarterback and pass for 4,051 yards, the first ever 4,000-yard passing season from a rookie. He was named to the Pro Bowl and was the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Newton showed how amazing he could be, but he did throw 17 interceptions and the team was just 6-10, so there was a lot of room for improvement. In his second season, Newton would have another strong year, but again the team struggled and finished 7-9. However, they would break through in his third season, as in the 2013 year, he would lead them to a 12-4 record while passing for 3,300 yards and 24 touchdowns, adding another 585 yards on the ground with 6 more rushing touchdowns. The Panthers would lose their first playoff game to the San Francisco 49ers though, 23-10. In this game, game, Newton would pass for 267 yards with 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. I mean, he didn't play great, but it was still a positive season for the team. I mean, a 12-4 record is nothing to sneeze at. The following year in 2014, though, Newton dealt with various injuries and the team would kind of struggle in the regular season, but they would sneak into the playoffs. The Panthers would go on to win their first playoff game against the Arizona Cardinals 27-16 as Newton passed for 198 yards with 2 touchdowns to 1 interception. He looked solid and the team advanced to the divisional round where they would face the Seattle Seahawks, but they would fall to them 31-17. As Cam Newton would pass for 246 yards with 2 touchdowns but 2 interceptions. A disappointing end to the season, but they did win a playoff game and had a great season overall as a team. This brings us to the 2015 season, and this would be the best season of Cam Newton's NFL career. He would pass for 3,837 yards with 35 touchdowns to just 10 interceptions. He also rushed for 636 yards with 10 more rushing touchdowns. He would lead the Panthers to a crazy 15-1 record and would take home the MVP award. In the playoffs, they would face the Seattle Seahawks again in the divisional round, and they would go up 31-0, but they would have to hang on 31-24 to win the game. Newton would pass for 161 yards, 1 touchdown. I mean, he didn't play very impressively, but he didn't really have to win this game. In the NFC Championship game, however, they would face the Arizona Cardinals, where the Panthers would absolutely destroy them, winning 49-15. Cam Newton would pass for 335 yards with 2 touchdowns to 1 interception, and rushed for another 42 yards on the ground with 2 more rushing touchdowns. They just absolutely dominated. The Panthers looked amazing and would go on to the Super Bowl where they would face the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning. This was Super Bowl 50 and a lot of people had the Panthers actually winning this game. However, the Panthers would find themselves down 16-7 in the third quarter. The Denver Broncos defense was relentless, and if you remember this game, it was just an impressive show by the Broncos defense. They would sack Cam Newton 6 times in this game and intercepted him once. Newton would finish the Super Bowl 18 of 41 passing for 265 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception. And he did also add 45 yards on the ground. The biggest story from this game was just Denver's defense. Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, they led the charge and wreaked havoc in the Panthers' backfield all game long. Watching the game live, it just looked like Cam Newton never had time to pass in this game. Late in the game, Newton fumbled the ball, and there was a lot of controversy about him not going after the ball, and that he didn't want to win bad enough, his drive wasn't there.
Cam Newton decides not to dive in there.
Yeah, he backed away from it. He jumped away.
This was probably the most talked about play from the entire Super Bowl game, and you know, I never doubt Cam Newton's drive to win and his competitiveness. I think he's one of the most competitive guys in the NFL, but it was a really weird play watching it live. I mean, it kind of blew my mind, and a lot of others why Newton didn't go for it. I mean, when you're watching it live, it was just kind of like, Newton, what are you doing? Go after the fumble. Most of the game, they were being held in check, and the Panthers couldn't really get anything going. I mean, again, I'm not a Panthers fan, so I don't know how actual Carolina Panthers fans feel. Panthers fans, if you're watching this video, let us know in the comments down below what you thought about that play. The Panthers defense also played pretty good, but it just wasn't good enough as the Panthers would lose the game 24-10. It was a game where Newton and the offense just couldn't get anything going against that dominant Denver defense. This was kind of the start of the end to Cam Newton's time in Carolina as well. I mean, the following season they would miss the playoffs, but going forward to 2017, Newton would lead them back to the playoffs with an 11-5 record, but they would lose in the wild card round to the New Orleans Saints 31-26. Cam Newton played really well overall in this game, passing for 349 yards and 2 touchdowns, but they just weren't able to do enough in the end to win the game. And that would be the last playoff appearance for Cam Newton. In 2018, he would have a 6-8 record as a starter. They would miss the playoffs, and in 2019, he would miss most of the regular season as he was injured. In 2020, the Panthers would decide to release Cam Newton after getting a new owner, a new coach. It just seemed like the Panthers were moving in a different direction and wanted to move on from Cam Newton. So for the 2020 NFL season, Newton had to find a new home, a new team, and he would sign with the New England Patriots as they lost Tom Brady. He would play kind of up and down, but led them to a 7-8 record, passing for 2,657 yards with 8 touchdowns to 10 interceptions, but he also rushed for 592 yards with 12 more rushing touchdowns. So he showed flashes, but still overall he didn't have great success. I mean, he played really well early in the season before he got the virus and he got sick, but overall, yeah, it just wasn't good enough. The Patriots after this season would draft Mac Jones out of Alabama, and he beat out Newton for the starting job. However, in a shocking move, the Patriots released Cam Newton and decided to not keep him as a backup, as they thought maybe he would be a distraction because Cam Newton knows he's a starter and didn't want to be a backup. And that brings us to the present day. The Carolina Panthers had chosen Sam Darnold as their quarterback of the future, at least seemingly, but after struggling most of this year and getting injured, they decided to bring back their former MVP Cam Newton. And as of this video, he has played 1 game and he scored 2 touchdowns against the Arizona Cardinals, and even I got chills when he yelled this. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Cam Newton is finally back. He's shown us over his career he can be a pass-first quarterback, and as he ages, I'm sure he'll transition to that, but I mean, I still think he's a starting quality quarterback, and I think he has a lot of great football ahead of him, and it's going to be fun to see what happens. I mean, guys, let me know in the comments down below what you think about Newton coming back to the Panthers. Do you like it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? I don't know. Let me know. I personally think it's amazing. It's a really cool story, how it just developed, and hey, if he can play the rest of his career with the Panthers, I think that'd be really cool. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Like I said earlier, I'm trying to get to 2,000 subscribers, so please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you made it this far into the video, and as always, everyone, I'll see you in the next one.